All right, this is High Tech here, and I wanted to give you a question that I get asked a lot. What is an IP address? So, we're going to go through that. What is an IP address? Well, an IP address is an identifier. So, what is an identifier? An identifier is a way of naming your machine. So whenever it comes to your machine has two different types of identifiers. It has a physical identifier and it has a logical identifier. So what are the difference between these two? All right, a physical identifier is built in to the NIC. So what's a NIC? Well, a NIC is how your computer communicates the ones and zeros as far as your network traffic. Now the NIC stands for Network Interface Card. So what is a network interface card? This is the card that is built into your machine that allows you to communicate. It's either going to be a physical NIC, which allows you to plug in a cable, an RJ45 cable, or it is going to be a wireless NIC, which allows you to connect to the wireless inside your house. Now, with the physical addressing, the NIC has a physical address built into it. The physical address that is built into the NIC is called a MAC address. Now the MAC address, like we said, is built in to the NIC. This is assigned by your manufacturer. So if we were to look at this as human or in the physical world, the MAC address of your PC is kind of like your social security number. So you do not want to give this out to anybody on the internet because this allows them to come right back to your actual physical NIC, and you do not want that to happen. So on the other side, we have logical addressing. Now logical addressing in the real world is going to be kind of like your name. This is going to be how you want to be identified by other people. So it could be your name, it could be a nickname, it could basically be anything that identifies you. But the key thing here is that logical identifiers are subject to change. So what that means is that if they are subject to change, then they can change. It's quite simply put. So with a logical identifier, we can change our name. We can change our nickname. We can change how the rest of the world perceives us with a logical identifier. Now, but remember, we can't change our social security number. Well, we can, but it requires a whole lot of effort that we typically don't want to go through. It's the same way whenever you're trying to change the MAC address on your NIC. You don't really want to do that. It's a lot of effort. So if the logical identifier in the real world for us is your name, what would be the logical identifier for your computer? Well, the logical identifier is what we're talking about. This is going to be the IP address. So what is the IP address? Like we said, it is a logical identifier similar to a name that allows us to get to the internet. Okay, so how does this happen? Well, what happens is you have a machine, you have a computer, or a desktop, laptop, mobile device, TV, whatever it is. This device then comes on to the local area network, or the LAN. Now the LAN is your inside network. This is going to be your house. Okay, so whenever your computer gets in there, it says, hey, I want to talk to everybody else. I want to be social. But it can't be, because at this point in time, the only thing it has is a MAC address. And a MAC address won't allow us to communicate to the world outside of our LAN. So we have to have an IP address in order to be able to get to the internet. So what happens? Well, your computer comes in and basically yells out, hello. What then happens is that your home router, which is given to you by your internet service provider, then hears this hello. The router then responds with a hello back and says, hey, do you have a valid MAC address? And the computer says, yes, I do. Well, the router then says, well, hey, I can give you an IP address if you want one. The computer says, sure do. And then so the router, utilizing a service called DHCP, then assigns this logical identifier to the computer. Now that the computer also has an IP address given to it by the router, this now allows the router to pass the traffic that the computer wants to send on its behalf to the internet. So now you can get to wherever you want to go that is on the internet utilizing an IP address. So remember, a MAC address is a physical identifier. An IP address is a logical identifier. So we have to have a logical identifier to get to the internet.